Clear, bold, concise, and on target. Stark Hour starts now. To learn more and to download podcasts of the show, starkhour.com. And here's your host, Tim Starks.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Stark Hour, where the naked truth starts now. Tonight we have a special guest, Eric Parker from the 3% of Idaho. I believe he's the VP. Eric, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good.
And it's Eric Parker, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thought if there's a lot of questions I'm seeing out here on what's going up there in Burns, Oregon. It just so happens Eric Parker is at the facility in Oregon. He's actually on site in town, correct?
Yeah, I'm in town. I'm not at the refuge, just to be clear.
Okay.
I'm in town in Burns.
But you went out and visited the refuge, correct? Just to kind of assess
Yeah.
what was going on? Okay. We hear a lot of people with a lot of rumors, and people are just stirring up a lot of stuff. And I think rather than look at the media's reports and listen to all the hearsay going on, it's best to talk to individuals who are actually in the town and see what's going on. So before we get started on that, though, Eric, what kind of a group are you? I mean, what do you do? I mean, you hear so many rumors out there about what the 3%ers are. Real quick, just a quick synopsis of 3%ers.
So we're a statewide organization. We focus on personal sustainability and tactical civil defense. We focus on can you feed yourselves and can you defend yourselves. The goal is to have active 3% of Idaho in every county in our state, basically ready to act if need be, if any kind of natural disaster or man-made disaster occurs. We've all taken an oath to the Constitution. It's a constitutional group. We believe in defending the Bill of Rights. So at home we work on those things I said. Can you feed yourselves and can you defend yourselves? We offer training on firearm safety and different levels of that, and then other things too. Canning, off-grid living. We have members that have skills, and we encourage them to share those with other members.
So it sounds like you're a group that really wants to make sure that your community, your county, your state is basically able to take care of itself, and you're working to help others in the community to be self-sufficient. Is that correct? Self-sustainable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
And so we
another thing we do is go operational for the Bill of Rights. If something is going on in our state or one of our neighboring states, we work with the Pacific Patriot Network, and what we'll do is get together and go over the issue and see what it is, and then decide if we want to get ourselves involved or not.
So if an injustice is going on, or you guys feel an injustice is going on, you're going to monitor the situation and be there to defend the defenseless, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
If the people don't have a voice, if their grievances aren't being heard, we'll get involved.
Now let me ask you this: what was it that made you guys, or that you guys felt that you needed to go to Oregon? What inspired you, or what caused you to take up and go to Oregon?
Well, the things that were happening to the Hammonds were incredibly unjust.
I agree. I think that the whole everybody in this country should be upset over what's happened to the Hammonds, and whether you agree with whatever the Hammond stance is on what originally happened, the fact that they were charged twice and sentenced twice for the same action is double jeopardy. And if anybody has half a clue at all, they know that's wrong. So that should have everybody furious in this country. But go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you there, Eric.
No, that's all right. I couldn't agree more with all the things you said. So what we really tried to do was get over here and speak to the Hammonds and let them know that they did have support, and if they chose not to comply, that we would defend them. And they were then threatened to cease all communication with anyone like us. And at that point, we really felt they were under duress and couldn't ask for the help that they needed. So what we did was organize a rally to really show them, all we figured we could do at that point was show them that the nation was paying attention and that they had support. So we had that rally. At the end of that rally, a group splintered off with Ammon Bundy and went out to the refuge. The media tried to say they took the building and there was an occupying force, and they were really blowing it out of proportion. It was closed for the holidays, for the season. There was no possibilities of any kind of injuries or casualties or anything like that.
Well, and it's my understanding that this really isn't even a standoff out there. It's my understanding that there's no one really constantly staying there. Everybody's just in and out of the building and coming and going, and some people may leave for a couple hours, a couple days, and come back, and it's a constant coming and going. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely true. There isn't a presence out there keeping them in, or it's not a standoff in any way, shape, or form.
And the media that's there reporting on this, are they being told this, or what? Why are they coming under the impression, and why are they conveying that this is a standoff?
The media does a lot of things I couldn't answer as to why. It sells papers or whatever. I guess not papers anymore. It makes clicks. Clickbait. When the headline says armed standoff in Oregon and white terrorists and all that junk, it gets people to click on it, and all they're worried about is ratings.
Now, I understand there are several visitors a day that are coming up there, different local ranchers and people from the community that are coming to the facility to visit the facility. Is that what you're seeing, or is this a small number? Is it what are you seeing when you're out there?
It's getting bigger every day. At first nobody agreed with the way that happened. A lot of us said, hey, we've got the opportunity to get the community involved here and get them to to make any decisions that they saw fit and then back them up accordingly.
What changed your mind and others' minds about not agreeing with it, and then now they're up there supporting the people that are...
So the community really saw, because when it all first happened, like you were saying, the media kept saying it was a big standoff and it was an armed occupation, and so everybody was kind of scared about that at first. But after a day or two, people started going out there and investigating for themselves, and at that point, they were offered soup, and things like that, and conversations about their rights.
Kind of a little different story of armed men with guns, then, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They really blew it out of proportion. But the people came and met with them out there and started to see for themselves that they were only interested in reestablishing those constitutional rights and helping them with the issues they're having. The Harney County is having just all counties across rural America are having these same issues, but they're very upfront here in Harney County, and Harney County used to be one of the richer counties in Oregon, and now they're at the bottom of the list because of the federal government shutting down industry.
Now, from my
logging and mining, and
from my understanding, a lot of these ranchers in the mining places, the government is acquired the property, not allowing this kind of activity and work to go on anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
We'll pull those grazing fees, those grazing allotments, and they do anything to get you off the land, it seems like.
Eric, we've got to take a network break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Clear, bold, and concise. Stand and be heard. You are listening to Stark Hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Stark Hour. I have Eric Parker on the phone with me. He's one of the 3 percenters from Idaho. Actually, he's the VP of the 3 percenters from Idaho at the Burns, Oregon location. And we're just getting the clear story from Eric. And fortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have anything exciting to tell you, like there's any kind of gunfire going on or massive militia presence that's creating, wreaking havoc around the place. And you're not going to get all the hype here. We're just going to stick to the facts and stick to the truth here. And that's what we're here to do. Eric, one of the things that you guys are doing up there, I understand that you went and visited. Let's back up a minute here. So one of your goals up there, between the FBI and the local law enforcement there, and the individuals who are occupying the facility out at the wildlife resource center out there, one of your goals, I guess, is to kind of play mediator. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. So what we have is effectively 3 sides that aren't talking, and the county, the sheriff's department and the FBI, I'm sure, are talking some, but neither are talking to the people in the refuge. And we just know from history teaches us that a lack of communication is going to lead to bad things. So what we were really hoping to accomplish was to open a line of communication between the men in the refuge and the FBI and the sheriff's department.
Now, how did that take place? Your first visit there, who did you first visit?
We first visited the refuge. We visited Ammon. We presented to him a document that we started, and we told him, this is just a starting place, and we're trying to find a starting place. So, take a look at this and see what you think. And Ammon agreed with most of it. There were some parts that he wasn't ready to agree to.
Are you able to mention those parts, or is this something that you can't talk about?
I'd rather not get specific about it.
Sure.
I want to let them all, because that same document was given to the FBI and given to the sheriff's department.
So it sounds like you guys came in as an intermediary between the 2 parties here, the main, I guess, the 3 parties, and it sounds like all the parties involved probably had some things they didn't quite accept, and you guys are working to help them accept this, correct?
Well, yeah, and with the FBI, all we really got was, we'll feed it up the chain of command. They told us that since nobody's life is in danger, they're not looking to move in on the situation. That they're letting the situation play out because nobody's life's in danger. And we said thank you. That's what we wanted to hear. We have friends that are up there.
Do you feel that the FBI is a threat, or do you feel the FBI is here to more monitor the situation?
Well, they claim to be here monitoring the situation, helping the sheriff in any way that they can. We know from history that things can get a little out of hand.
Sure.
Rhetoric starts to build, and and things get out of hand. So what we just wanted to make sure that we showed up, and we showed up the way we do. We had our security teams, and we wanted to make sure to make the point that that they are peaceful men in there, and they haven't hurt anybody, and it's even questionable some of the laws, whether or not they broke any law. But what we weren't going to tolerate was going in with a heavy hand, and we the people don't want to see that happen anymore at all.
And what kind of a message did the FBI convey to you in your visit with them? Do you think they conveyed a positive message, or do you think did they seem like they wanted to work with you, or how did they accept you?
At first it was really tense. They came out pretty heavy, and we were, they came out pretty heavy and intense. I think we caught them off guard a little bit. But after the initial ice was broken, I guess you could say, it seemed to go okay. What they told us is like I said, that they weren't looking to go in heavy. That since nobody's life was in danger, that they didn't need to take too much action. So whether that's true or not, the idea is to humanize each other, right? Let them know that everybody's got kids that they want to go home to, and nobody needs to get hurt.
Absolutely, and I commend you guys for confronting them and letting them know this and reassuring them of the message that it seems that Ammon has been telling them as well in his interviews or his press releases. Now, you visited the sheriff as well, didn't you? Or is that not been done yet?
Yeah, we went over to, after we left the FBI, we went to the sheriff's department, the county building, and we sat there for about an hour out in the snow, waiting. They've barricaded themselves in there, and they've got concrete barricades up and stuff, and it seems like the sheriff has barricaded himself in away from the community.
Why would the sheriff do that? I mean, what's he trying to barricade from?
My personal opinion is that they are trying to show that they're in fear for their lives, and when they do that, it justifies any kind of reaction that they choose to.
Now, let me clarify this. So they're 30 miles from the Wildlife Resource Center, correct?
Correct.
Or I guess they call it the Harney County Resource Center, correct? The Harney County
that's
Resource
what they're calling it.
Okay, so the Harney County Resource Center out there, they are, he's 30 miles from that, and from what I can tell, and what I've been watching in all the videos and news releases, no one has come in and threatened him or any of his deputies or had any confrontation with him, correct?
That's correct. He says that he received some threats over email, and this was a few weeks ago. He did say that they were from, the other side of the country, and so no. As far as anybody there at the refuge, I don't believe anybody has been threatening anybody.
I think he maybe needs to find a career change if he's scared of internet threats. I don't think he needs to be a sheriff of a county. That's just kind of strange for me to see a sheriff that intimidated by email threats.
It was really strange for us to see him, those barricades up, It was strange.
So it seems like he's causing panic in the town and in the community with this. I mean, you're saying these barricades are all around the police station. I mean, the community has to be horrified with the way he's doing this. I mean, I can't imagine that the children and the women around there are too comfortable with all these barricades.
Well, right. I would agree with that statement. I've asked a few people around town, that I've been able to speak to about how they feel about it, and they've got a lot of the same sentiment.
Now, have they explained? Well, we're going to have to take a network break here, Eric, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Clear, bold, and concise. You are listening to Stark Hour at starkhour.com on Liberty News Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Stark Hour. We're here with Eric Parker. He is the vice president of the Idaho 3%ers, and he has made the journey to Burns, Oregon, to stand with other individuals to mediate between the FBI and the local law enforcement and the visitors or occupiers of the Harney County Resource Center, is what they're calling it now. I guess it was formerly the Wildlife Refuge Center. Eric has been telling us a little bit about what the mood is up there and what's been going on and what's been taking place, and it's a far different picture than what the media is telling us. It seems like there's a very different atmosphere up there, except for the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department seems to be building this hype up and putting up these unnecessary barricades and creating this sentiment of fear in the community. And I understand that he shipped his wife and some of the deputies' wives out of town because he feared he couldn't protect them. And it just sounds to me like the sheriff is really trying to stir things up there. And why they have no school going on in the community that's 30 miles from where these occupiers are, I have no idea. This is just bizarre, and it really there needs to be an investigation as to why this sheriff is so compelled to do this to his community. Eric, you were explaining to us what was going on when you guys stopped by the sheriff's department, and I guess you had to wait outside for a while. And so what actually took place when you met the sheriff?
I didn't specifically meet with the sheriff. I was operating the security teams. But Brandon Curtis, our president, he met with him. And they spoke for a little while. They spoke about the resolution, and sheriff gave a few statements to the media, and that was about it, really. You touched on talking about the school, shutting the school down for a week. I guess school is going to start tomorrow back up, and I heard in the community just today, I was over at the Verizon store, and I was talking to a ranching family who has some children, and apparently school's starting again tomorrow, but it's going to be on a lockdown where anybody coming on has to go in and sign in at the office with a background check. There will be law enforcement on school grounds.
Wow.
And I was just baffled listening to that, and I asked the mother if they were implying that the children were in some sort of danger. And she said, yeah, absolutely. That's what they're trying to imply. They're trying to make everybody think that somebody's going to come in and hurt the kids. It's just, I was amazed. I was really blown away when she told me that. And she knew that there was no truth to that, and she reassured me that everybody who she spoke to knows that there's no truth to that. But yeah, I was really blown away by that kind of rhetoric.
One of the things that really bothers me about this sheriff, it should be his job and his duty to calm a community and protect a community and not stir up and create these tensions, the unnecessary tensions and unnecessary fear in a community. And this is a different
type of action that I've normally seen from a good sheriff, especially a constitutional sheriff that would not be acting this way, who would be reassuring the citizens that everything was okay and be acting like he should to protect them. But this is unreal.
Yeah, and he had ample opportunity to really take charge of the situation, and the authority laid squarely on him to. He could have stopped all of this. He could have stopped the Hammond situation. He could have opened dialogue up with Bundy. He's choosing not to do any of that. And I want to be clear that here in town, we're getting very positive feedback from the deputies patrolling. The guys in the cars and just doing their job. Driving around, we're all waving at each other and smiling, and they got families and they're just doing their job, But the police presence here is just astonishing. There's quite a bit of police presence here.
And I'm sure you've got some good people that are up there.
Very nice.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, having said all that, the deputies, I want to make sure I'm clear that the men who are the deputies are very friendly, and I can tell they understand the situation.
So, Eric, the big question is, what are you guys doing? Are you guys running around in tactical uniforms with guns and intimidating people up there, or what are you guys doing?
No, we're not.
Well, because I mean, if you listen to the media, that's the image that we're getting. So what are you guys really doing up there?
Right. No, the community has been very embracing of us. I'll say, we've been at these town hall meetings. The day that they went over to the refuge, we took everybody who wanted to go and everybody who was at the rally to the fairgrounds and had another town hall meeting to explain to them what had just happened and what was happening and how we were going to try to fix it. And the sheriff or the county officials, they weren't there. We were the ones there trying to reassure the community.
And so what kind of activity are you guys doing? Are you guys standing around? Are you just, what are you guys doing to occupy your time?
We're spending money in town. We like to go and meet the locals and go out to eat and that kind of stuff. We're doing a little bit of patrolling, not very much. Now that everybody has kind of calmed down. When we first got here, we weren't sure of the situation, so we were a little more on high alert, but never walking around town with gear on or anything like that. Awareness.
I heard some rumors that some of the people up there with you guys were actually helping individuals shovel snow and helping people do some stuff up there. Is that true? Or?
Yeah, today we deployed what they started calling the Snow Brigade, and that was a group of guys from the Pacific Patriot Network, some Idaho 3%, Oregon Constitutional Guard, just a lot of the guys here went out and were shoveling some driveways and shoveling out fire hydrants and clearing sidewalks, that kind of thing. Just gave us the opportunity to get out there and really gauge people's response to our actions yesterday. We know that we had a pretty firm stance that we took with everybody involved, and so we wanted to make sure that that was well received in the community, and it was. I'll tell you, there's people here that don't necessarily like the idea of federal agents out at the airport in tactical gear ready to deploy into their community.
Well, I can tell you, Eric, there's nothing more intimidating than a guy with a snow shovel in his hand.
No, we made some friends today and cleared out some fire hydrants and driveways, and when we do these things, we had operation in called Sugar Pine Mine over there in Grants Pass.
I heard about that.
What we want to do when we do these things, whether we're guarding the recruiting stations in Idaho or we did that after the Chattanooga shooting. What we like to do is establish our 3% before we leave, in the community, wherever we are, so that they can continue to monitor whatever situation we're looking at, So we did that. We reached out to some of the guys around here, and we're starting to put them in touch with the Oregon 3%, and who is also involved here.
Well, Eric, I think you guys are creating a problem. I think what's going to happen is when you guys decide you want to leave, the residents are going to probably detain you guys and not let you leave, it sounds to me like. So you better watch out.
I was telling them just today, I got to get back and get to work. I got a mortgage I got to pay.
We got to take a network break, Eric. We'll be right back. Just hold that thought.
Clear, bold, and concise. Stand and be heard. You are listening to Stark Hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Stark Hour. I'm here with Eric Parker on the phone. He is in Burns, Oregon. He is one of the 3%ers from Idaho that is at the Burns, Oregon town and has been walking around working to communicate with citizens and the individuals occupying the wildlife refuge and the FBI and the sheriff in town. And he has just been telling us some of the good deeds he's been doing for the community and working to get to know them. And I'm afraid he's creating another problem that he may not be able to leave. They're probably going to kidnap him and make their group stay there. But Eric, you were just telling us a little bit about that experience. You want to continue on?
Sure. Yeah, I was just telling them today that we're going to have to go home. Some of us are going to have to go home, but we do have others. What we like to do is start a rotation with an ongoing situation. So, I told them I got to go home and work and pay my mortgage, but we have others coming, and we'll continue to have a presence in Harney County. I bought a bumper sticker today from the Verizon store that says Harney County Strong. I put it on my truck. I plan on coming back. So, until the situation is peacefully ended, be here, and even after that, I'm sure.
It sounds like one good thing to come from this that we know right now that's positive is the community seems to be financially having a pretty steady influx of income coming in. I'm sure the business owners are happy right now.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to the Apple Peddler. It's a little diner right there, and they've been very, very nice to us. They let us rearrange their tables and have our meetings in there, and feed us. Very nice lady, Misty.
Awesome. This is good to hear. I mean, this is the kind of thing that we need to be promoting, and we need to be promoting the kinship that's taking place here. One of the things I like to say is we need to focus on standing together and uniting and not let our little social issues divide us in this country. And it seems like too many people are focusing on the differences and their differences of opinion instead of just uniting on what the cause is around what's going on out here. And the cause is, and people need to remember this, is that what happened to the Hammonds and the other ranchers in this state is an injustice. And for those who live in other states who don't understand how the BLM operates and what they've done to drive these ranchers to this desperation, they really need to research this situation and this topic and to understand this fully. And just some of the videos I've watched and some of the press releases from the individuals that occupy the facility out there, it almost brings tears to your eyes just listening to the dedication and the emotion that they have from this. It's just it's really touching. And Eric, what is your thought on this?
Well, I think there's some things going on here that are unprecedented. They got some big issues. And like I said, they're the same issues that ranchers and people, rural areas are having all over the country. What's different about this one is the formation of the safety committee. And when I first found out that they were forming the safety committee, I had to go look into it again, and I knew that term, but I had to go look into it again. And the history there is so important, because that's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to take back our rights to the land and to all the, all of our rights. What happened was they had a list of grievances, and they gave that to the state, and they gave that to the county, and nobody would answer them. And so we have a process in place that we were given by our founders to deal with that sort of thing. And it starts with the safety committee and the community electing a safety committee, and then that safety committee electing a jury, and then that jury asking for enforcement to their decision. And that's where, the citizenry get involved.
Now, this is something I'm not hearing the mainstream media report, that these individuals out there are actually proposing solutions and operating to fix things. So what you're telling me is there isn't this this standoff of individuals out there that are putting their, let's say, their head in or drawing the line and saying don't cross this line. These are individuals out there that are actually just working to restore justice to this area and to this county. Is that a correct summarization?
Yeah, it's very correct. The things that are going on aren't just injustices; they're criminal. And when the federal government charges a man with terrorism, it was terrorism under the terrorist arson or whatever. The things that they're doing to these families out here to get the land, it's criminal, and it's terrorism. It really is. They are terrorizing American citizens. These bureaucracies are, they're interpreting laws, so not the way that they were supposed to be interpreted. If you ask the people that wrote them.
Now, Eric, have you heard about the U.S. Attorney General of Oregon resigning? Does this have anything to do with what's going on there in Harney County, do you think, or is this something totally separate?
Well, I think it might have something to do with it. I don't have any proof of that, but we've heard all kinds of things. We had word just yesterday that the BLM was in their office shredding papers. Can you believe that? I when I heard that, I'll be honest, I wanted to go kick the door in and find out for myself. But what would that be? They'd arrest me as soon as I did, but somebody needed to do it. We told the FBI while we were out there that we had gotten word that they were in there shredding papers. We told the sheriff that we had word that they were in there shredding papers, and didn't seem like anybody wanted to go find out,
Now, one thing that really bothers me is this double standard that it seems like some of the people in power have, because when I did some research onto this, I just wanted to do some research as to, okay, has there been anything like this ever happened in the past? And lo and behold, our former Attorney General Eric Holder had done a similar action in 1970. Only difference is they actually went in with guns to take over the facility, which it was an ROTC center, a Navy ROTC center, and they actually went in armed, though, whereas these individuals out there, I understand, didn't arm themselves going in armed. They strictly only have stuff there for their protection. But so when you look at this, and people are saying on social media that, this should be done, I'm thinking, well, this seems like it's the first step toward becoming the Attorney General, it looks like.
Just about to say, I guess they can go for Attorney General, right?
Yeah, and when you look at what Martin Luther King did for his cause, sometimes it's hard for individuals to understand the actions you have to take to get the attention of the public or to wake them up. And I have to say, I personally don't, not knowing the situation, I probably wouldn't do what they did originally, and I probably, until I know more about it, would have to have a better understanding of what actually took place out there. But I do know this. I believe in their cause, and I stand behind their cause, and bringing justice to those criminals who have committed atrocities against the Hammonds. I think every American out here should be involved in this, and I am so happy to hear that there's individuals like you and others out there to keep the peace and to help a community become calm instead of inciting fear in these citizens. And Eric, I commend you, and I commend your fellow compadres out there to where you guys are doing good work. And you have
I appreciate that. Yeah, it is. We couldn't do any of this without our members. We have 2,000 members in our state, and we have extremely dedicated people. They're extremely, extremely dedicated to restoring our Constitution and our Bill of Rights.
If anybody, we're running out of time here, Eric, but if anybody would like some information on what your group is and what they actually are doing, and where can a person get information on your group?
It's easy. I'd say it's easiest just to go onto Facebook and put in 3% of Idaho. Our organization page will pop up. You can like and follow that, and we keep that pretty updated with press releases and what we're up to and why. We have a website too. It's %Idaho.gov. .org, sorry.
Okay. And Eric, can you give us a quick 10-second wrap-up, a message that you have for anyone listening?
Yeah. Look up the Safety Committee and their and what they had to do with the founding of our country and the right way to deal with tyranny. Because that's it. That's the right way to deal with it. And, everybody's got to start looking at how we do that.
Well, Eric, I appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Eric Parker with the 3%ers of Idaho. So when you turn on your television or you see the main media spewing this hate and this huge message that there's this armed confrontation and a standoff going in Burns, Oregon, you heard it here. This isn't really what's going on up there. It's a community there's individuals working with the community to help them make right what's been wrong, and there's not the standoff that appears to be going on that the main media says. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. StarkHour.com.